What happens when we die? Is there an afterlife? Do we go to heaven? Or even worse, hell? Can we communicate with the dead? And if we can, should we? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first official episode of San Pedro Paranormal. This is my longtime friend, co-host Carlos, aka the
Technician.
And I'm your host Tony,
also known as the Communicator.
The Communicator. We made little nicknames for ourselves. So we're finally gonna start this channel. You know, we've been trying to start it now for a little over a year, and we had filmed some footage last year, and it just didn't work. You know, it just wasn't, how would you say, portraying what we were trying to get across.
Right.
So, you know, we decided, I think the best way to start the channel is with doing the first episode, doing the talking about the famous San Pedro Haunting. That, you know, it's pretty well known, I think, all over the place.
Yes.
And this is the Jackie Hernandez case. So we're gonna go ahead and start with that. You know, we actually just finished watching the documentary, which, you know, is kind of hard to find. I ended up finding it here in San Pedro at the local public library on 9th Street.
Yes.
You know, so we watched most of it. Towards the end, I think like the last 5 minutes, the tape went out. It didn't work anymore.
Oh yeah.
But we got the most important stuff at least.
Needs a little cleaning, but eventually we'll fix it.
Yeah. But anyways, this case, if you haven't heard about it, you know, this was the case of single mom, right? Single mom with two kids.
Two young kids.
Two young kids that lived here in San Pedro, and she started having stuff happen at her house. I believe the first thing we saw on the video was actually it was a pencil holder, right? That's a pencil
holder organizer, and it just moved.
It moved. So, you know, that's how it all started, and from there, just, you know, everything just escalated. You know, from seeing the head without a body, and
there was a picture frame that fell.
And you know, the cool thing about this case was that, you know, there was actually other people that got to see it. There were the neighbors of Jackie actually got to witness some of the phenomena that happened there. I think I wrote it down here. One of the neighbors that saw this was I think it was Susan Castañeda, right? Mm-hmm. She was the first one, I think, that actually saw, the one that saw the painting fly off the wall, and then yes. I think a flower pot or something
else moved,
levitate and stuff. But you know what, this case was after watching this, you know, we hadn't seen this in a long time, right? When's the last time you saw this?
I would say maybe close to 15-20 years maybe.
Yeah, because this was 1989, right?
Yeah, started in August of 89.
So, you know, I remember hearing about this when we were younger, because it was on the news, and it was a big deal back then. And, you know, when you're kids in school, all this kind of stuff really, you know,
yeah, it kind of
excites you and stuff.
Excites you and scares
daylights
out of you.
Yeah, so so they had the neighbors witness stuff, and I believe that one of the people that witnessed the things was the one that recommended Jackie Hernandez to look for these paranormal investigators. You know, who was it? Dr. Barry Taff, and there was Jeff Wheatcraft, I think. Mm-hmm. He was one of the guys that was involved in the case. But I don't know, after seeing this video after so long, I don't know, just it's I mean, I believe some of it, but just some of it just seems so like so fantasy style.
Yeah, I would say like the first part or the first third of it was pretty interesting and captivating, because it all took place in San Pedro and was very believable until you get to the middle or that final part where There's just so much filler. There's just a lot of time wasted with all these little things that we're like, come on, this is not believable.
Yeah, I mean, it starts really strong. You know, you believe some of the stuff, especially because they get the witnesses involved. You know, they tell what they see and stuff. But once the crew comes in, especially the one guy, Jeff Wheatcraft, I don't know, he just almost like he's overacting everything. Everything that happens is just so dramatic. You know, it makes it almost seem like he wants it to be like a movie. But yeah. So I mean, I do believe something did happen to Jackie, and but I think just some of it just got really.
Like you mentioned, there was some evidence there, especially with the neighbors. They've seen and heard things there.
Yeah, especially when you see things move when it becomes like more of a poltergeist case. You know, so that made it pretty cool.
But the rest of the video seems like it was overblown. Like they were just trying to stretch out the time, trying to please the network and their advertisers back then.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like.
And I mean, something big was, I was talking to Carlos about this, was that these investigators actually had done a previous investigation that became a big movie. You know, it was a big hit back in, I think that was late 70s, early 80s or something. Right. It was they made a movie about it called The Entity with Barbara Hershey. Great movie. And we'll most likely review that in a future episode,
because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But this also comes to mind too, since this guy was part of that entity thing. It seems like this whole thing with the San Pedro Haunting was like his second phase to create something just as big, if not better, to make more money.
And that's what I was trying to get to. It was like they just came off this big thing. They made it. They hit it big with that case. So I think that I was thinking the same thing. I think they were trying to find that next big thing that was gonna, but they ended up never making a movie about it. The one we saw was just a documentary that was filmed by those investigators. But yeah, anyway, so the Jackie Hernandez, she was having all these things happen. There was the whole ooze coming out of the walls. Which that's another thing that I kind of question, because in my house, a lot of the houses here in San Pedro are like really old.
Really old.
I know our house is almost 100 years old, and I've had a case where when the weather gets really cold and it rains a lot in our bathroom, especially like the window area will get like that. Something very similar to what we saw in the documentary, that like a brownish liquid,
Right, maybe like sap or varnish or something.
Well, I'm thinking it's something that's coming through from maybe the wood, because I've noticed these houses, they have these little wood boards all across.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm thinking it's something from the wood. I don't think it was something supernatural what happened with Jackie. And you know what?
There's no stucco in these homes or any kind of insulation, so whatever is coming through is
so any humidity will bring these these liquids out.
Right.
But like Carlos was saying, towards the middle of the film, of the documentary, it just got to that point where they were trying to make everything supernatural. It was the liquid, then we had the bugs.
The bugs flying through. And they said it was light just flying through at no particular or certain, I don't know what you want to call it, distance or speed, or
they were trying
clear path, right?
They were trying to come up with some kind of supernatural thing for these these little, they were bugs. They're
bugs, and on old video, I'm not sure, I think it's the frames per second that cameras take, it elongates the shape of this bug as it flies across. But if you were to play it or record with a modern camera, you'll be able to see that it's an actual moth or just any kind of insect flying through. But again, the technology was just different. And
I was telling Carlos, because when me and my sisters and my brothers were younger, we used to go camping up to Sequoia, and we took a big VHS camera, and we would capture these things. I remember seeing through the video, all of a sudden you see these little like rod things flying by, and we knew they were bugs. So that was another thing of the case.
That's been
that just that. Now we could explain, it's like, what do they call it? Debunk it.
Yeah, it's been debunked. It's been pretty fully explained online. I'm sorry I couldn't give a good explanation about it, but it's out there.
Yeah. And I think what ended up happening with Jackie, she ended up moving away from San Pedro. She moved to Weldon, California, up north. And same thing, she moved, and she thought everything was fine for a while. but then again, soon after, stuff started happening again. She started seeing all these lights, and they ended up calling the group to go out there and investigate.
The same three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seems like that third act from the documentary just went all crazy now, because they ended up playing with a Ouija board. The guy got thrown across the room. The tables were shaking and all kinds of crazy stuff.
And like you mentioned, Tony, they didn't record any of this.
Yeah,
they had all this equipment for the San Pedro shooting, but they didn't have anything there at that time.
Yeah, they didn't capture anything. There's I think like 2 pictures of where like they're playing the Ouija board, and that's about it. But you would think with so much activity, the especially being professional investigators of the paranormal, they would they would take some kind of video footage. Yeah. But nothing. So I don't know. Anyways, at the end of the towards the end, after that, she ended up moving back to San Pedro. Yeah. To 7th Street. 7th Street, right below Pacific. And again, the same thing. And you know what? That part of the documentary actually got kind of interesting, because Jackie actually started taking pictures herself.
Oh, that's right. When she went up for herself and started taking these pictures of illuminated globes, and they were in sets of 3s, or it was 3 of them that were illuminated.
And they almost seemed like they were layered. Which made it really cool, it's like, especially back then, how do you pull something like that off?
How do you debunk it? Especially since there was light coming down. It was a really low shot of these bulbs. They were very close to the carpet, but they were floating. There was illumination on the carpet. There was one creating a shadow onto another one, but on the rear wall, there was no illumination. It was kind of like it was split into different areas. It's just... How do you do
it's almost like it was just glowing in place.
Yeah.
Which was kind of it's pretty cool.
It was independent.
Yeah, pretty cool pictures. And they actually ended up taking these pictures to get developed here at a photo shop that we used to have here in San Pedro on, I think it was either 12th or 13th and Pacific. It was called A1 Photo. I don't know if some of you guys some of you guys probably remember this. All the locals that live around here.
This was a pretty interesting part of the segment, because they went through A1 Photos and they interviewed the owners there, and they also mentioned the news pilot, which I thought was pretty awesome.
That's right. That's right. What ended up happening in the documentary was supposedly, allegedly, when they played the Ouija board, they found out that the person that was haunting Jackie used to be a fisherman, right? A fisherman here in San Pedro. And supposedly he was drowned, and he lived at the house in San Pedro, the first house where Jackie, where the whole haunting started. So they did go to the news pilot, and they found the information of this guy that that was found dead and all this. So it kind of verified for them, at least, that the case, that it was real, that it was true. But so she ended up moving back. I guess some stuff continued to happen. The investigators went to the newspaper, found information about the guy that was an actual guy that had died in the house, that was a fisherman, and somehow that kind of looped everything back to the one of the important parts of the film that we forgot to mention, where the guy Jeff, the guy that used to be a school teacher, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Goes up into the attic to investigate.
Wheatcliff, I think it was his name. There was a point at the beginning of the film where he goes up into the attic and he gets supposedly hung, right?
Right.
With this wire, with a nail or something. And at the end of the movie, when they find out that the guy that died was a fisherman, so they kind of wanted to make related to the whole hanging, because supposedly the wire that was hung around his neck was tied in the way the fishermen used to do it, I guess. It was
like a special type of knot.
Yeah, a special knot.
That was usually used by fishermen or people that fish or work with the tow trucks and things like that. Something that is very professional.
For those that don't know San Pedro, we're right here on the port of LA, so we have that whole, the boats and everything here.
Right, the longshoremen and everything.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I think that was to the point we got right, and that's where the video actually kind of cut off. So we don't. I think what I remember of the case, everything kind of like died off. just all of a sudden, you know, and it stopped happening. But
they didn't find a buyer.
Yeah, they can never turn it into a blockbuster hit. But according to some of the stuff I read online, supposedly Jackie Hernandez still lives in San Pedro.
Wow.
So I mean, it'd be great if we could actually, you know, eventually one day maybe get an interview with her. You know, if we could bring her in here and you know, for her to tell us person to person what happened. But
or anybody that was associated with her at that time, if we can't get her.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Carlos that earlier today. I went to talk to the guy that's the owner now of the actual property where Jackie Hernandez, you know, the haunting started. And I couldn't find him, but I did leave my number, and hopefully he could contact me, you know, and we could do at least an interview with him. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that'd be the closest we could.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But anyways, guys, I think that's that was what we were going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. So we just want to finish off the video letting you know what the future of this channel is going to be. You know, what we actually do. We do a little bit of ghost hunting. You know, I actually started doing ghost hunting about, I want to say, like 2 years ago. You know, I started with the famous Queen Mary here in Long Beach. I did a ghost tour there in the middle of the night, and I actually caught some EVPs, and that I was just hooked. I was hooked with that, and I started doing EVPs all over the place, locally, and you know, anywhere where there's it's known to be haunted or for there to be paranormal activity. So that's how I got into the whole ghost hunt, and then
we'll bring some of those to the show. We'll cover some of those recordings playing for you here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't know how to bring this across to YouTube, you know, because I'm not very tech savvy. I'm not big into computers and stuff. But you know, then I talked to this guy here, and you know, he's big time. That's why he's the technician. So he's gonna help me, you know, in future episodes, be able to bring some of these investigations that I do, and that we're gonna be doing together, and be able to share them here. You know, like be able to share them with you guys. And one more thing I wanted to mention was I wanted to see if any locals around here were interested in, you know, getting involved in the whole with the channel. You know, we want to see if maybe some of you had stories or you live in a haunted house, you know, and you want us to do an investigation and record it and show it here on the channel. You know, I think that'd be
we welcome
that'd
any
be
kind
interesting.
of information or any kind of we'll help you out with anything that you want to be put on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to verify that, you know, that maybe there is something at your house, you know, we could always show up with we have some equipment. We don't have a lot, but we have some equipment that we could use.
Slowly growing, but you can contact us through email or comments here on YouTube, Facebook.
On San Pedro Paranormal. We do have a email where you could, you know, if you want to contact us, it's sanpedro.paranormal@gmail.com. Okay, so you could go ahead and do that. But I think that's about it. Do you have anything else to say before?
No, we covered pretty much everything for the first episode.
For the first episode at least. I'm sorry we don't have, you know, more, you know, but we wanted to keep it short, at least, you know, just to take off, you know, for the channel to take off. But so hopefully next time, you know, we're gonna show some of the recordings we get out in the field, you know, these ghost voices, and hopefully capture something on video. That's the goal. That's the goal.
And also, speaking of video, we're gonna do reviews too here, where we sit down and actually talk about the movie we're currently watching. Yeah, that would be pretty fun. The movies would be based on true hauntings. True hauntings.
True stories. Anything paranormal. We also wanted to do unboxings, right? Unboxings. We talked about it today, and we were thinking about doing a Ouija board unboxing.
Yes, I think fun.
I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I don't think where we would be in any danger, because I mean, in that case, all stores, Targets, and everything would be haunted because they sell the Ouija boards there. We're not gonna actually play it, just just show what comes in the box and stuff. But yeah, I think that's it for today, Carlos. And thanks for watching, and do the whole YouTube thing,
thanks for
subscribe.
Being part of the first episode. Yes.
Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.